All right, the Dubs tonight are in Sacramento. Draymond Green's going to play.
Is the beam getting lit? It's a must-win for the Warriors, Mark.
Probably. The Kings are favored by as many as the Niners are.
Point and a half, I saw that.
Quote-unquote supposed to win.
Point and a half.
Is it down to a point and a half? I saw it at 2.5 last night.
Yeah, ESPN. It's a must-win for the Warriors, Mark, and you won't acknowledge that.
No, I won't.
If they don't win, then they're not going on in the in-season tournament.
No, listen.
They need a win. If they win, they're in.
I would like to, in what?
It's a win and in. They're in the quarterfinals.
I see it at 2 right now, so we'll split the difference.
Fine.
But I would like to share a conversation I had over the Thanksgiving holiday with the father of the lovely Christy. So we were driving around. This is when we went to Sonoma the day after Thanksgiving, and she caught up with her dad on Bluetooth.
On the tooth. Because he's over in the islands, right?
Yeah, and he was, I think he was on maybe the Big Island, or I don't know where he was. Maybe he's on Oahu, but he lives on Kauai.
Whoop.
Well, he lives on Kauai. So you want to talk about...
whoop.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, they've got their roots are there. But,
stop whopping me.
Thank you. So when you want to talk about somebody who has found relaxation sensation.
That's a buck.
Somebody who literally I've now decided, like, this is where I want to go in life. I want to someday worry about as little as this man worries. Like the perspective he has, you cannot get to this guy about anything. And I didn't say anything. I'm just listening. She's talking to her dad, and we're driving along. And then he knows I'm there. So he goes, hey, we change the subject. Hey, Mark. Yeah. Listen, don't worry about the Warriors. Don't worry about them. Long season, and the goal is simply to make the playoffs. And it doesn't matter until then. There's a long way to go.
But what about Klay and a slow start?
No, that's
and
not.
Wiggins.
I'm not going to worry about it.
And the bench.
I was told not to
and
worry.
And Draymond.
I was told not to worry.
And he is a man who I've never met, but I admire his hang loose ethos from what I've learned about him from the lovely Christy and yourself.
Yep.
He's living the life that we all want to live, which is I live on an island. I've got ocean views. I roll around in my flip-flops.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything's okay.
Everything's fine.
Right.
And he says the same is true for the Golden State Warriors. So there you have it, America. Nothing to worry about.
A loss tonight means they need to win 2 games to get back to 500. They would need to win 3 games to get above 500. Well, they're the 10 seed right now. Christy's father, I don't know if you know that, but they're not even in the playoffs right now. They're in the play-ins.
Right, but if they do fall 2 games over 500, and you said they would need to win 2 to get back to 500, do you know how many more they have?
After tonight?
Yeah.
They're down to 64, Mark.
64 more chances to win basketball games.
Yeah, but they're running out of time.
Dibs, look at me.
Mark, they're running out of time.
Dibs, look me in the eye.
I'm staring at you.
Don't worry about the Warriors.
I have to worry about the Warriors. If they lose tonight, they're out of the play-in tournament. The in-season tournament.
Everything's fine.
All I've ever wanted, Mark, was for them to be in-season tournament champs. I want them to win the IST so bad. It keeps me up at night.
What does the King's floor look like? I haven't seen it yet.
It looks like one of those bowling alley things with the purple and the arrows.
You know who you need to worry about? You need to worry about Klay Thompson.
Kurt talks a lot about believing in his guys, especially the starting lineup. Won championship not too long ago. Having patience, letting guys kind of find their game. How aware are you of that kind of patience, and how much do you value it?
What do you want me to bench me?
No. It's like that's
you want to bench Wiggs?
I don't think I said that.
Okay. I mean, you can suggest it. It's fine. But, I mean, thanks, Steve, I guess. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you earn these things like patience and time to find yourself. And I think history is on our side when it comes to that stuff.
You say that. Have you heard people say that?
No, I don't care what people say. Like, they don't do what we do. They can't do what they do. That's why they talk. Why would I? Like, come on. I don't care what people say at this point in my life. Next question.
Yeah, I find the whole thing
I'm getting more upset every time I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've played it now 6 times over the last 2 days.
Something like that.
And each time it gets me more agitated.
Why?
I'm trying to figure that out. And I think it's because of, and I'm getting agitated halfway through.
What is that?
It's an agitation sensation, Mark, and I'll pay the damn dollar. I'll pay the dollar. I'm not afraid to pay that dollar. And I think it's the second part of it that's getting me, and the dismissive tone. Forget what he says about Steve. Yeah, Steve. Thanks, Steve. I guess, Steve. Thanks. Thanks for paying me $43 million, Warriors, for hoisting brick after brick.
No, in other words, I'm owed this.
Right.
I'm owed this.
But it's the second part that's getting me the most agitated. I don't do what I do. You can't do what I do. I shoot jumpers. I throw a basketball. I throw a leathery object at a metal cylinder. Okay? This is a big deal now. This is serious business. You can't do what I do.
You're a dad.
It's making me mad, Mark.
I get it, but you're a dad, and you know this. The hardest thing about parenting is when they drive you crazy, right? They drive you complete, and you're in a bad spot. You're tired, or you're upset about something else, and you get triggered by something those kids do when they're showing their anger or their frustration.
Right.
And the trick is to actually sort of hit them with total calmness and helpfulness when it's the opposite of what you feel like doing.
You had me at hit them.
And
Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, people. My kids are bigger than me.
I kind of feel that way right now about Klay. The first 3 times I heard this, it was like, dude, don't do that. Don't act like you're owed something because of what you did before, and don't make fans feel like they're lesser than because they can't do what you do, because the truth of the matter is if we all admit that fans and media are crazy, like we're nuts that we care this much about the way this all goes. Why do we care this much? I don't know. We just do. And that entertainment, that desire, that craziness that we all have for you to do well, Klay, is exactly why you make $43 million.
Exactly.
So don't do that.
Don't do that.
So that was my first thought 3, 4, 5 times in. And then we started the show and I heard it again and I went, you know what? It's almost like, dude, Klay, are you all right? It makes me want to do that. Forget all the things that make us angry about what he just said. Why are you angry? And it didn't hit me until you and I were having this conversation live on the air right at about 2:30 when I went, I don't like angry Warrior basketball.
No.
It's the exact opposite of what I loved about this team. There was a smile and a joy and a flow and just all of this beauty on a basketball court that we would watch that somehow has denigrated into a spot where now I get much more of this, which is we don't see the beautiful basketball anymore. We see the anger that we don't see the beautiful basketball anymore, and the pushing back of people who are trying to say, where's the beautiful basketball? I don't see it anymore. And you get offended and angry by that. And Klay, more than any of the other guys right now, feels like more often than not, he's annoyed. And I'm sorry, that's not what we are here to see.
No, it's an entertainment product, and we're here to be entertained. And we're here to be entertained, win or lose, and we love this team. And yes, we have 4 championships, and Klay, there's nothing that you owe us in terms of what you've already delivered to us through 4 championships and more than a decade of joyful basketball. But if you're looking to consume this product, you want to consume it and enjoy it. And this feels a little bit like last year all over again. Last year was not a joyful year. And we don't have to go back and decide whose fault it was, because that's a conversation that we had for about 10 months or more, and we can go through it again and again and point fingers. Bottom line, last year was not a very joyful experience. The playoff series against the Kings, that was very joyful.
That was fun.
That made almost all the pain worthwhile. The Laker loss was agony, but at the end of it, it was a fun year in many ways, but in many ways, it was not a fun year. And you look at this year so far, you're 8-9, and Klay has struggled, and now this. Wiggins has been a non-factor. Draymond's missed 5 games because he choked out an opponent. It doesn't feel very joyful. Even when we talk to Steve Kerr, and we'll talk to him again tomorrow, and man, we may have to hold him over for a second segment because we have a lot of questions for Steve. It hasn't been that much of a joyous season so far.
No, it feels defiant.
Right.
That's the word right now that for me feels like it defines the Warrior vibe. It feels defiant.
Defiant's a good word, and it also something you said earlier about when you're older and the frustration of being older. Like for me, it really comes to fruition in my golf game because when I was younger, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I could hit the ball 275, 280, wouldn't always go in the fairway, but when I would swing the driver, it would go 275 or 280 every single time. Sometimes it'd be 4 right, 3 fairways over. Sometimes it'd be in the fairway that I'm playing. Now when I play golf, even when I take a great swing and I'm warmed up and it's the 12th hole and I'm not yet tired and I hit it great, it goes about 212, maybe 215 if I get one on the screws. And that's frustrating. But as you get older, you realize that age and a lack of flexibility and just father time, there are things you can't do. I can't run a 5-minute mile anymore. Even if I got in great shape and lost 40 pounds and trained for it, I'm not running a 5-minute mile.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where the Warriors are getting, Mark, in terms of their own devolution as athletes.
So, first of all, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. That's why Guru today was so entertaining, quite frankly. I mean,
He's always entertaining. Well, yeah, you're right. But you're so right.
My point is that there is something to aging gracefully, and basketball players, pro athletes, you don't get to do that. You can't just be like, well, boy, can't do what I used to do. Oh, well. Because we're sitting here going, dude, the shot has got to go in. You know what I mean? Yeah, 20 years ago, it would have bothered me how many free throws I missed today. That would have bothered me 20 years ago. Now I'm like,
you missed a bunch.
Yeah. It's like, okay, right. Like I haven't shot a ball in a long, long time, and it's all good, and some went in and some didn't, and I didn't win, and Grandy did, and here's the trophy. Cool. Let's go get a coffee. Like, but Guru, he really wants to hold on to that. And it's engaging. I find it. Now, Klay, I'll give him that. He doesn't have that latitude. He doesn't have that space because he's a pro athlete making a whole lot of money, and we demand that he's still doing it. So I fully understand the frustration, but man, you also got to understand it. You have to be aware of it. It's as if Klay is surprised by a few things here. It's almost as if he's surprised that he's not as good as he used to be. And then if we do accept that he's not as good as he used to be, he's surprised that bothers people. He's surprised that people might go on social media and go, dude looks washed. I mean, you're surprised? That comes with the territory. You're a Warrior.
Right. You're a four-time champ. You're a Hall of Famer.
Freaking future Hall of Famer Warrior. And you're going to be mad because Tim Kawakami asked you if you appreciate Steve Kerr sticking with you? Dude. That's where I'm not worried about their record. I'm worried about that. Because that demeanor, that stress, that attitude, that'll take you down.
Right.
That's got to change or they're going nowhere.
Well, and it's early in the year. And you mentioned 8-9. You're not worried about 8-9. I'm a little worried about 8-9 because, when you won a championship, you had a little bit of a cushion and you could get to the end of the year and get guys fresh. Right now, you're in a mode where you're going to be chasing wins, not to borrow from Steve Kerr too much, but you're going to be chasing it. And you look at Klay Thompson right now, and among qualified players, he's 8th to last in the association in field goal percentage. He's shooting 40.2%. He's one spot ahead of a guy who he used to play with, a guy by the name of Jordan Poole, who's shooting 39.7 from the floor. So Klay's he's not having a Hall of Fame year. And I know he's frustrated, and we will never be able to take away, nor would we want to, the Klaymaker game, the 37-point quarter, the 4 championships, the Hall of Fame resume. No one will ever wear number 11 again for Golden State. But this sort of reaction and this sort of Klay Thompson, I don't want to say behavior because that's a little bit too harsh, but
it's just a demeanor.
The demeanor, the commentary, it's taken away some of the joy from being a Klay Thompson fan.
Let's go to Joe in Stockton. Hey, Joe, thanks for calling. What's up?
How's it going, you guys? How y'all doing today?
We're good, man.
Hey, Joe.
I wanted to talk on the Wiggins situation. Now, no, I don't preferably think it's this, but I have yet to actually hear anybody talk about it. And so I just want to put the rack on the table. I remember back a few years ago when Wiggins was just starting out, like his second, third year in the league, and there was question about whether he has the drive for it, whether or not he actually wants to play. Does he? I mean,
well,
we need to know.
Here's where I get stuck. And, Joe, thank you. Here's where I get stuck on this one. And I know a lot of us will go about, oh, well, this has always been Wiggins. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Now, you could talk about his lack of, like, pushing and being, a dog and just being a max effort guy. Sure, that's been a part of his history. He has not been an 11-point per game guy. He has not been these metrics. He has not been these numbers, ever. He was better than this when he was a rookie.
17 a game.
Okay? So when we go, oh, yeah, Andrew's back to the guy he used to be. No, he's not. He's way worse. Way worse. And so whether the reason is evident to the Warriors or not, it's not evident to us. And someone, if they don't already know, is going to have to figure it out. Or more importantly, whether you figure it out or not, the production has got to change. He has got to be a different basketball player. Or when Klay goes, what, you want bench Wiggins? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly where this is going.
They already are benching Wiggins.
Exactly.
They already don't finish games with Wiggins. When everybody is healthy and available, he's not in the closing lineup, which is remarkable when you think about the NBA Finals just about 18 months ago when he was not only in your closing lineup, he was your closer. We were in need of a closer, and he was that guy, Mark. He was double-digit rebounds, and he was a defensive stopper. You mentioned his points, 11.8 per game. It's because he's not shooting, and you have to shoot to be able to score. And this might be a little bit too highfalutin for you, but
that's over my head.
If you don't shoot, then you can't score. And also, you need to get to the foul line to get the free points, and he's shooting as few free throws per game, second only to last year when he shot 2 free throws a game.
Yeah, because he's not attacking the rim.
He's not doing anything with the ball other than getting rid of it, basically. Yeah. He's shooting 12 times a game, 11 times a game.
Except for that one game. That one game a couple of Saturdays ago, Saturday before Thanksgiving.
12 of 19.
Against OKC.
He had 31.
He was phenomenal. He was unbelievable.
Right.
And you're like, okay, he figured it out. Shooters shoot their way through the slump, and he did it. Well, not really.
Since then, 11 for 31, 4 of 10 from 3, and 8 free throw attempts in 3 games. 11 for 31 after that game. So he's turned the corner. Not really.
We'll get back to your calls on this. We'll keep marching toward the Warriors and those adorable Kings. Oh, they've got a little in-season tournament game tonight they might win. Oh, gosh, that would be great for them. They could hang that in-season tournament banner. It would be fun.